I am making a tutorial for this necklace here that I'm calling Prom Night Necklace. This video will show you how to make the earrings for it. So there will be a matching set. This video will be posted first, and these are what the earrings look like. And we'll zoom in so you can see what they look like here. And that's what the earrings look like. And that's what we will be doing today. And then look for the tutorial. It should be posted fairly soon after the earring tutorial for the prom night necklace. Let's look and see what we are going to need for this project today. Okay, so for this project, you will need an 11-0 seed bead. I'm using a metallic bronze 11-0 Toho seed bead. And then you will need a 4mm bicone crystal, and you'll need about 32 of those. You'll need 6 8mm round beads, and I'm using a fire polish to kind of two-tone 8mm round bead. Then you will need 2 ear wires. I'm using this copper little French wire for my ear wires. You will also need about 1 arm's length, a little over 1 arm's length. So I'd say measure 1 arm's length and then add about 6 to 8 inches to that. And that's what you'll need of 8-pound fire line. And you'll need a beading needle. I'm using a size 10 English beading needle. And let's get started. Okay, so pick up onto your needle 3 11-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 3 11-0 seed beads, and then 1 8mm round bead like this. Bring it down to the end of your fire line. You don't have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to as you sew back through all of your beads. So from the tail side, come back through all of the beads that you just put onto your thread. Hold on to the tail and your beads and pull your thread through. Pull them into a circle like this. And then sew back through all the beads that you just put on to your thread. So go back up through the little 11-0s. You'll be coming out of the fire polish bead. Go through the 11-0s, the bicone crystal, and the next 3 11-0s here. Come back through. Make sure everything's nice and tight. If you want to, you can tie a little knot. I didn't leave much thread to tie a knot with. See if I can do it. But tying a knot with your tail and your working thread just ensures that nothing's going to move around. So you can tie a little knot there and then come back through the fire polish bead here. And then you will pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 3 11-0 seed beads. Like this. You're coming out of this side of the fire polish bead, you'll go into the opposite side and pull. And then you will sew back into all of the beads that you just added. So you'll go back into the 3 11-0s, into the bicone, and the 11-0s on the other side. And then back through the fire polish bead. And that should keep everything pretty secure. Now we are going to sew into one of the sets. It doesn't matter, you can go on either side. Just pick a side and go into the 3 11-0 seed beads and then the bicone crystal. And this is where you will start your next unit. You'll pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, a fire polish bead, and 3 11-0 seed beads. It's like this. You're coming out of this side of the bicone. You're going to go into the opposite side and pull the beads tight. Turn your work over and just sew back through all the beads that you've just added. Turning the work over just helps make it more accessible to my right hand. If you don't want to turn it over, you don't have to. So I'm going through all the beads. Then I'm going to go back through the bicone, back through the 3 11-0s on the other side of the bicone, and back up through the fire polish bead. So all I've done is just sew through all the beads in a circle just to ensure that everything's nice and tight. Now I'm exiting my second fire polish bead, and I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and a bicone crystal and 3 11-0 seed beads. And again, go through the opposite side that you're exiting from. So you're exiting here, going to the opposite side of the bicone or of the fire polish bead. Turn your work over so it's accessible. Go back through the beads you just added, all of them, through the crystal and through the 3 11-0s on the other side. And then back through the fire polish bead and tighten everything up like that. Now, of course, we need to get up to our bicone crystal to add our next unit. So let's go up the 3 beads here, up into the bicone crystal. And again, we will pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and a fire polish bead and 3 11-0 seed beads. And then we're coming out of this side of the bicone. We're going to go into the opposite side of the bicone crystal. Oops. And pull. Just like that. I'm going to turn my work over again. So back up through all the beads I just added. So I'm going to go into the 11-0s, the fire polish bead, the 11-0s, and then back into the crystal, and the 11-0s on the other side of the crystal, and then back into the fire polish bead. And then we will pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and a bicone crystal and 3 11-0 seed beads. Whoops. And then just drop them all. Let's do that again. 3 11-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 3 11-0 seed beads. Like this. I'm coming out of this side of the bicone, or of the fire polish bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side. I'm going to turn my work so that I can get back up the beads I just added. Sew through all of them. And then I'm going to sew back up my 3 little seed beads and go just into the crystal and stop there. Then I will pick up an 11-0 seed bead. I'm going to make the top of my earring so that I can put on my ear wire at the end. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a bicone crystal, an 11-0, and a bicone crystal and an 11-0. Just like this. I'm coming out of this side of the bicone. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bicone. And this is what you should have. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to sew back through all the beads I just added, through the bicone, through the little 11-0 on top, through the next bicone and the 11-0 underneath it, and then into the original bicone we started in. And then I'm going to sew back up the 11-0. I'm coming out of this crystal here. I'm going to sew into the bicone and the crystal here. Then I'm going to sew just into the 11-0 on top here. And I'm exiting the 11-0. I'm going to pick up 4 11-0 seed beads. I'm coming out of this side of my 11-0. I'm going to go into the opposite side. Just like that. Now I'm going to turn it over and sew through all of the beads that I just added. Like that. And that will reinforce the little top piece that we'll hook our wire on. Now we need to get back down to our main bead so that we can do our embellishment with our crystals. So we're going to come through this little bicone crystal here. We're exiting this 11-0 here. Come through the bicone. And then we'll come through the 11-0 underneath the bicone. And then the bicone underneath it, right here. And then we'll sew down these 3 little 11-0s. Now I'm exiting the 11-0s here. I'm going to pick up a bicone crystal. And I'm just going to go from this 11-0 seed bead that I'm exiting into just the top of the next set of 3. So just the first one like this. And through it. And then I'm going to pop my bicone crystal down between the 11-0 seed beads until it lies there nice and neat. Then I'm going to pick up another bicone crystal. I'm exiting this first little seed bead here. I'm going to skip all of these seed beads in between and just go into the next one at the very end of the next series of 3. So just the one at the very top of the next fire polish bead. We're going to go through that one. Now we're exiting that seed bead. We will pick up another bicone crystal. We're exiting here. We're just going to pick up the next. In the next set of 3, we're going to pick up the first one and only the first one. And pull our bicone down into place. And then we are going to pick up another bicone crystal. And we're going to skip all of these beads and just go into the very last one here. And then we will pick up another bicone crystal. And this time we'll go through all 3 of the seed beads on the other side. Turn the work, sew through the bottom bicone and the 3 11-0s on the other side. And now we are exiting this little 11-0 here. We will pick up a bicone crystal, go through the first 11-0 in the next set of 3 seed beads. We will pick up another bicone, skip all of the beads in between, and go into the very last in the next series of 3. Whoop. So I'm just going to throw this earring around. And then we're exiting here. We're going to go into the first of the next set of 3. Make sure as you put each bicone crystal in to pop it into place between the beads so it lies nice and neat. We're exiting this one. We're going to go into the last one in the next set of 3. And then we're going to pick up one more bicone crystal. And this time we're going to go through all 3 of the beads on the other side, just like this. And just make sure everything's nice and neat. Pop your little last crystal into place nicely. kind of pull and make sure that nothing's bunched, because these beads kind of, as you're doing this, if you have really tight tension, they'll kind of bunch. So we want to make sure that there's no bunching. And then we are exiting this little 11-0 right here. We're going to go into the bicone right next to it. Then we're going to sew down the 3 on the other side here. Go into the bicone crystal underneath, and then just go through the first 11-0 underneath the bicone crystal. We won't go into the 3, we'll just go into the 1, and then we'll just sew down the side here. Go through the bicone, go through the next 11-0 underneath the bicone, and then go into the fire polish bead here. It doesn't really matter where you sew. We're just getting to the point to where we can reinforce and tie off. So here I'm going to grab a little thread bridge and I'm going to just make a knot. Then I'm going to sew back into my little 11-0s here, or my bicone, either one. Maybe I'll go into the bicone. And then I'm just going to sew back up this way. And I'm just sewing through. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Just sew through to make sure that everything's nice and secure. And here I'm going to cut off my thread. And leave just a little bit of length. And then I'm going to curl my thread in with a lighter. And then I'm going to go down where my tail is. I'm going to cut it, leaving just a tiny bit of length, and curl it in like that. And then I'm going to pick up an ear wire. You'll need some chain nose or flat nose pliers, and just look at the ear wire and see where the opening is on the bottom. Open up the bottom loop to the side. Put your earring through it like this, and then just close your ear wire. And that is what your earring will look like. And this is what a pair of them looks like. And then I will show you the necklace that I am making to match it, and there will be a separate tutorial for the necklace. So this is the little set of earrings. You back off here and grab the necklace. And lay it out so it doesn't look all sloppy here. And then we'll back off. And this is what the set will look like together. I hope you've enjoyed this project. These are very fast moving, very simple to make. And like when I got caught in the middle trying to do my thread through, just don't worry about that. Just sew through and tie off. It's not really important. As long as you follow your original thread path, it should be fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Have a good night. Bye-bye.